Thank you for taking your time to watch the second of the Faith, Fitness and Feeling Good videos. I'm joined today by Siobhan, who has willingly and happily decided to take part from the Faith and Belief Forum into the Identity Tree, which I'm going to go through with you guys today. If you guys have got a printer, it'd be wonderful if you can print this out. If you haven't, take your time, maybe even just to draw a tree, because this will be the point of reflection in the exercise that we're going to use today. I'd encourage you to also find a quiet place and a quiet space for you to do this point of reflection. And also, in fact, if you want to do this with somebody else, you're more than capable and able to do so as well. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what the identity tree itself actually is. So this is something that we designed at the Delicate Mind. So this is one, in the words of, I think, Neil Buchanan, that I made earlier. So what we do with the identity tree is effectively a form of self-reflection. So quite often within life, what tends to happen is we don't really take enough time to just sit back, not even relax, or reflect on our behaviors and our actions. For me, this started when I took part in cognitive behavioral therapy a few years back with the Asian Counseling Service. So I was on a waiting list for, it must have been 6 to 7 months. And in the meantime, I realized, well, I need to do something before that. I can't wait in during this time and not do anything. So what I started to do a lot more of was a self-reflection, looking at my behaviors, thinking about how I show up in other people's words. I learned a lot about the science of gratitude, as to how what happens is there's neural pathways in your brain that form the synapses and fire and cause the brain to form in the way in which it does. And you can strengthen certain neural pathways with positive and negative behaviors. So I used to be a very terrible smoker. And so what I did is I changed these behaviors by making myself do push-ups as opposed to smoking cigarettes, which was a really powerful and useful way of subverting and changing my behaviors and attitudes. So the identity tree then came about quite organically, because we were working through the Delicate Mind with different organizations such as prisons and youth clubs and the faith sector. And I wanted to bring a little bit of that science of reflection and pausing to what we do on a day-to-day basis. So thank you so much for taking your time to join me through this exercise. And thank you, Siobhan, for being with me as well. I think it's going to be a lot better working with somebody else. So that's something I'm really looking forward to doing today. With that, we're going to go straight on to your route. So by this time, I hope you guys have either printed off the identity tree or you've drawn one for yourself, because otherwise you're going to be a little bit left behind, and I don't want that to happen for you guys. So let's talk about your route. So the idea behind this is, in essence, to think about my principles. What are my non-negotiables? What are the things that make me Nikhwat? What are the things that make me Siobhan? What is the essence of myself? What would be the principles that stay with me through life? As I said, the self is in constant evolution. So physically we change, mentally we change, genetically we change, but principles usually mostly stay the same. So take your time to reflect and consider, what is it that is the essence of myself? And like I said, I'm going to share my example with you guys. So some of my examples for what is the essence of me and my principles are my family, my friends, my faith, and some of my principles are honesty, which doesn't always serve me in the best way, but it means that you always know where you stand with me, which is something that I would like to always be doing with other people. And I invite you guys to also think about, what are principles, what is key to me? Respect. I always respect people. That doesn't mean that you can let's say, mug me off is the nicest way of saying it, but respect is key and fundamental to me, to how I treat other people and how I want to be treated myself. And learning, that's definitely one of my roots. So one of the first words in the Quran is Iqra, so the very first revealed to Prophet Muhammad, which means to read, to educate, to inform yourself. And I try to do this all the time by exposing myself to ideas that I completely disagree with, and ideas that obviously affirm a lot of my own viewpoints, because by exposing ourselves to these kinds of things is how we can strengthen our own understanding and our own resolve. So, Siobhan, what are some of your roots? What are key principles of yours that you'd like to share with anyone watching this video?
Thank you. Yeah, I thought of a few. So one was self-respect and keeping true to my own boundaries and needs. It's a bit of a journey, but I'm trying to do that. Another was deep listening. So trying not to put assumptions on other people and actually listening to what they tell me they need and want, and show me through their actions. And then a third one was about environmentalism and the impact of my actions on the planet and animals around me and people around me. So I am vegan, and that's quite important to me as well. So those are some of mine.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I always light up when everybody shares it. And guys, obviously, these were some wonderful examples from Siobhan. So please take your time to think about your own principles. Remember, everybody's is different, everybody's is unique, and everybody's is valid as well. Please bear that in mind as well. Hi guys, so now we're going to go on is to what is your trunk. So the trunk is in essence the 5 people who you feel closest to. So I want to give you some time to think about 5 people who show up in your life on a day-to-day basis, who you value and who you love and who you appreciate. So these could be your friends, this could be your family, this could be your partner, this could be whoever it is that is close to you in heart and mind and soul and spirit. Sometimes I even invite people to think about this in the context of the organization. So as I said, we've delivered this into different places. So we delivered this with some young at-risk kids within Coventry and Warwickshire. They came up with some really interesting examples of how who the people they might experience them see them as. As we've done this in prisons, it's been really interesting because in prisons, a lot of people have said people perceive me just as my number as opposed to an actual tangible physical person, which is something which is very interesting. So consider who you are at this moment in time, and the 5 people in your life are always going to be different. So if you want to think about this in a work setting, think of some 5 colleagues, but I would invite you to hopefully be watching this not in work time, but at home, and think of the 5 people who you value and who you love. So I thought of my parents, I thought of some of my friends, and I thought of people who've been close to me all life, such as partners and so on and so forth. And it's very interesting because I've been told quite often that I'm stubborn. And obviously, it's going to sound stubborn when I say I don't think I'm stubborn, but that probably comes across in that way. I think it's important to say because that's a word that's been said to me quite a bit. And I like to think of myself as being quite resolute in what I think. I take my time to make my decisions, but nonetheless, I stand by as to what I do. But if someone says something to you repeatedly, there's some element of truth. So maybe think about something that people repeats to you guys at home watching this video. What are things that show up that sometimes people say towards you? Is there anything, there could be some truth in it? And I think for me, there must be something there. Neurotic is something which I wouldn't describe myself as being, but it has been said to me as well by close people, people who I love and people who I value. It's never, you got to understand, guys, sometimes people say things towards us with compassion. It's different in the sense of how you explain and what you say to people. I think criticism isn't fundamentally bad, but if you're critiquing just for the sake of being a critic, then be gone is probably the best way to put it. But also, I'm told nice things about me, which is really lovely. So I'm being told that I'm kind, which is what I want myself to be experienced as, which we'll touch on a little bit. I'm also seen as easygoing. I'm also told that I'm fun. So a good mixed bag overall, to be quite honest with you. So guys, take your time to reflect and think and consider how other people experience you. Maybe ask the person next to you if someone's next to you as well. It's even better to have that interplay with each other. So Siobhan, please tell me, how do you think other people experience you?
Oh, it's a tough question, isn't it? It's really difficult. I've been told that my siblings and my friends perceive me as caring,
Good.
which is a nice thing. Sensitive, sensitive slash empathetic. I think in some ways it's a strength, sort of being mindful of other people's emotions, but it can sometimes be a flaw if I don't keep an eye on it, because it might mean I get drained easily or take on other people's problems. I've also heard that I'm hardworking, which again can be a good thing, or I need to watch that tendency that I make sure I keep mindful of my boundaries. Yeah, those are some.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. Again, always really wonderful when different people share different things. And guys, as you said, and as you've seen, there's different examples there. So take your time, think about it. Maybe think about words that have shown up in your life by other people consistently, or even just try to put yourself quite literally into someone else's shoes and think about, how did this person experience me? So take your time as long as you need to. There is absolutely no rush. And thank you for doing it as well. So well done. So guys, finally, we're going to come to what is now your crown. So your crown is effectively here. So within, as far as I understand, and please do correct me if this is incorrect, but in the body, we have different types of chakras, and these are all emotional points within the body, which we can open. So for example, the throat chakra, you can open it and be more honest and sincere. The heart chakra can be something that you show more love and empathy with. And there's the third eye chakra, I'm not sure until the term, and you have the crown, which is like the top part of yourself. And in psychology, this is the idea of self-actualization. So being able to tangibly, in your mind's eye, see the very best version of yourself that you want to be. Who is that person? And hopefully that's someone that you are today. And if there is, excellent, keep it up. And if it's not, it's okay. It's all part of a journey. But this is again when I want you to think about, let's go back to those 5 people. So they've said how you think they see you, but think about now how it is that you want them to see you. So let's say you're not in a room and everyone's having a bit of a gossip and talking about you. What would you want them to say? Like, how would you want these people to speak about you, understand you as being? That's who you want to be. That's how you want to be experienced. That's who the person is that shows up in their world. So again, take your time, think about it, think about the good principles and qualities that you want to be within your crown. Scribble on your identity tree, take your time with it. There's no rush, there's no pressure. But for me, so I've written down some examples again. They are, I would want to be seen as intelligent. I pride myself in being able to articulate myself and educate myself in a respectful manner with as people as many as possible. I want to be seen as open. I think I'm quite an open book. I like to be sincere and open and good with people. That doesn't mean you can take me for a fool, but I think it's always important to be good and honest and empathetic with people. Empathetic as well is something that I would like myself to be seen as well, because I have experienced pain and I can empathize and understand pain in different ways. All of our difficulties are different, but that's who I want to be. I want people to tell me or speak about me and say that he's trustworthy. So I would pride myself on that. I would want people to call me as being respectful, which I believe I can be. And finally, I would want people to see me as being kind. So when they're talking about me and saying all those lovely things, which I hope and I believe do show up in the world, but if not, those are the qualities that you want to be, and that's who you want to come across as. Again, I'll give some examples. When in prisons, we've shown this, they've said that they want to be seen as reformed, they want to be seen as understanding, as sincere. And it's really amazing when you think about the different things that people come up with in their lives. So take your time, think about it. Finally, coming to you again, Siobhan, how do you want these people to see you? What is your crown? Who is the best version of yourself? What are these people saying when they're all in a gathering together about you?
Well, thank you for this challenge, because I think it is quite difficult. I'm finding it quite difficult.
Is it supposed to be?
Yeah, I think I'd like to be seen as trustworthy as well, like you said, and reliable, sort of someone who keeps their word if they say they're going to do something. A good listener, ties into some of the things I said earlier. And I'd also like to be seen as confident. Maybe I'd like to just be more confident as well. Like I would like to not give off a vibe of like self-doubt or not believing in what I say, if that makes sense.
It absolutely makes sense. And just from this alone, your vibe hasn't come across as being unconfident in any way. So you're already halfway there. And again, guys, this is your time now. Think about it. Take your time to be like, who is that best version of me? What do people say about me when I'm not there? What are the good qualities I want them to see me as? Again, your family, your friends, your partner, whoever these people are, take your time. So guys, as I said, now that you'll have your completed full tree, but who you are is going to show up completely differently for each of us individually. So you'll have your root, you'll have your trunk, and you'll have your crown. So now that we've come up with this, look at it and think, do I recognize these things within myself? I mean, I'd imagine that you do, seeing as you've taken your time to write about it and think about it. But all of these qualities are you. All of these things are in essence a part of yourself. Again, some people experience you differently, but it's the root that I think is one of the most important things, because these are your principles, these are your non-negotiables, these are the things that shape you. And again, they change and they shift and evolve, because the self is always in evolution, as it is. And the people who we value in our life, the truth is they will always flux and be in change as well. And the actualized version of the good qualities that we want to be evolve over time as well. So now this is in essence a point of reflection for you. So I would invite you guys to maybe come back to this whenever you want, maybe in a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of hours, however long you want to take, or even share this exercise with someone else as well, for them to go through this period to connect with one another. Self-reflection is really key and really important for becoming the very best version of who we want to be. And especially during this time, I think it's really important to look inward and think about, what are my good qualities? What are my good habits? What are the things that I want to delve into and shape and make even better for myself? And, you know, also just to say that if anyone's found this a little bit difficult, or if it's brought up anything that's a bit uncomfortable, that's also understandable, because this is a point of self-reflection. And sometimes we may come across things that we may be a bit uncomfortable with. So please be kind to yourself as well. Take your time to do whatever it is that you enjoy doing. Practice self-care. Know that you're loved and cared for, and you bring so much to the world just simply by being alive. And that's it. We've came to the end. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I have quite enjoyed speaking to you guys at home. Thank you for taking your time to watch this. Thank you for Siobhan and the Faith and Belief Forum for working with us on this wonderful, 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 wonderful festival. There's a lot of good videos and good resources available. So please do check out the Faith, Fitness and Feeling Good Festival, because there's a lot in there that I think a lot of people will get a lot out of. If you're interested in more of what we do, you can find us at thedelicatemind.org.uk, and of course the Faith and Belief Forum are everywhere, and have been one of our biggest supports from the get-go. So thank you so much. And that's it. I wish you all well. I'm going to end the video by saying Khadafis, which means may the grace of God guide you, and thank you for your time. Till next time.